Hey everyone, it's Alison Heikkila. Thank you so much for joining me. We are going to play with alcohol inks again today, but we're going to do a very different color palette. Today we're going to be using Moss, Rosewood, Monsoon, and my all-time favorite, which happens to be in a very old vintage bottle, Eggplant. And I'll have all of these colors listed and linked below. I believe that Eggplant is still available. If not, I'll try to link something that looks similar. So last week I did a super bright color palette and it was really happy and fun, and I gotta be honest, you guys, feeling pretty low today. Got some pretty terrible news about my dog Bartles, and that is going to be reflecting everything that I do for a little while. I was talking to my best friend about it, and she said, well, your art is supposed to be an extension of what you're feeling, who you are, and all of that, and she couldn't be more right. And so I think that we all need to remember that when things are great, you're going to make things that make you happy and feel good and all of that. But other times when you're down, don't be afraid to make things that reflect that. They'll still be beautiful. They'll still be usable. And even if they're not, it doesn't matter. We're making cards here, but that doesn't mean that you need to send them all. And that doesn't mean that you can't hang it on the wall of your, studio space or in your bathroom or something, or like cut it up and make ACTs. Or the point is, yeah, cards are meant to be given to people, but sometimes you need to keep this stuff for yourself. I've made things and then put it in my art journal, and that's okay too. Basically, if you're down, allow the art or the crafting or whatever you want to call it be an extension of that to help you through it. This is not a be-all end-all, but it might get some things out. It might clean out some of the junk that you're feeling. So yeah, come along for this ride. It's going to be a bumpy one, but we're going to make something beautiful out of the sadness that I'm feeling. As many of you know that have been here for a while, I lost my cat that was 20 back in November, and now my dog Bartles has liver cancer. I'm going to start by putting alcohol ink blending solution on my Jot poster board paper that's from Dollar Tree. So, yeah, it's bad news. There's not really a whole lot we can do. And he's the best dog I've ever had, you guys. I've had a lot of dogs in my life, and he's amazing. And I'm having a hard time swallowing this. And I'm not trying to bring anybody else down or anything, but I want you to know that it's okay for your art to reflect how you're feeling. It's okay to put it out there. And even if you don't share it with anyone, don't worry about it. It's not necessarily for other people unless you choose to make it that way. It's about you and what you need and what's going to make you feel better. And that's really all that matters. Okay, so we're going to play with these colors. We've got some cool things happening. I'm just using my blower tool here. This is different from what is available from Ranger now. This was originally meant for markers. I'm going to go back and forth with these colors. I don't mind if I get kind of gray. I don't mind if it gets cloudy, like really dark. I don't want to call it muddy because this isn't muddy. They're kind of storm clouds, which is fine. I'm kind of feeling that right now. It's okay. And I'm just going to go back and forth, pushing these colors around until I get them to kind of where I want. I encourage you to watch last week's video if you haven't, because I go into, you know, my movements and all of that a little bit more. I have a bunch of alcohol ink videos. I'll have a playlist linked at the end of this video, and you can check out some more of them, but I think that that's looking okay. I think I might actually like it better this way. But we just kind of want to go back and forth with the air tool and just kind of push things around. And it's kind of a gentle motion. You don't want to do it too hard, otherwise you'll get some splatters. And I don't typically like that effect when I want something that's a little bit more washy like this. I think that we might stop here. I think we might just leave it, let it dry down, and then my plan is, I'm trying to decide if I want to use isopropyl alcohol. I might save that for later. I've got this beautiful layered vine embossing folder from Simon Says Stamp, and once this is dry, I'm going to run it through my die cut machine with this, and we're going to get a really amazing impression. So I'm going to let this dry, and then we'll come back when it's done. Okay, so whenever I make panels like this, I like to use some Deco Foil to see if there are any sticky spots remaining, because if there are, then the foil will adhere to them and give us a really cool look. Now, typically I use the iridescent, but today I decided to use rose gold. So I'm thinking there might be some stick right here. We'll see. If there is, there is. If not, then there isn't. Oh, that looks cool. So I'm thinking that after I'm done with this, I might need to like break out some paints or something, because this is a good start for getting my feelings out, but I need more. And I've always found that painting is super helpful to me. So find something that is helpful to you if you're in a bad space. Even if you're in a good space, you know, you got to find what sings to your heart, you know? Look at how cool that looks. That's really pretty. I'm sorry about that glare, but I want you to see the flash. I think it's really cool. Okay, so that's pretty good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to run this through the die cut machine. This is a very thick folder, so make sure you check your settings if you use any of the Simon embossing folders, so that you don't jam up your machine. So I'm gonna go and run that through. Okay, we ran that through and got a little bit of stick happening, but that's all right, because I was asked if this really would clean up well, and I'm going to show you that it does. Look at how pretty that is. We're going to make the detail stand out even more, but I want to clean off this folder first. So I just have my isopropyl alcohol, and you could technically run some more cardstock through, not cardstock, excuse me, if you use Yupo or if you use the Jot poster board paper that I use, whatever you like. Now it's going to be in those recessed areas a little bit, but we can still clean it up a little bit better and kind of get it to work its way out. But you can see that that came off pretty easily. So see, I'm concentrating it right here, and that's coming off really nicely. So there's a couple of other spots, but I'm going to worry about that off camera. But you can see it came out really well. Okay, let's move on. So now we have this, and it's beautiful, and I've got this sanding block. You can use whatever you've got from Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever, just a piece of sandpaper. I happen to like this because it velcros on, and it's easy for me to hold. So we're just going to kind of go in circular motions, and you can use it in whichever direction you feel most comfortable with. Circular-ish. It's not really loving the circular motion at the moment. Here we go. And we're just going to highlight those raised areas. Now, again, this is a 3D embossing folder, so there are some high, some low, and some mid kind of depth or heights, I should say. So not all of them are going to show up, but that's okay. You can also, if you don't want to sand, some people don't like the sound or the texture, whatever, or the mess, you can see the dust happening. You can take a brayer and use white pigment ink and do it that way, and that would work fine too. Look at how pretty that is. Super moody, totally how I'm feeling right now. But I do want to clean this up. So I've got some water here, and I'm just going to spray it lightly from high up so that it doesn't just blow the stuff everywhere, and just pick it up with my paper towel. Because I don't want that stuff to be flying all around, and then I breathe it in, and that's a whole nother set of issues. Okay, so we have that. Okay, so I have from Pinkfresh Studios my favorite things to say #2, and there are a lot of really great sentiments on here that can be used for a wide variety of things. Some of them super happy, some of them not so much. I wish my words could heal. Here's a little paper hug until I see you again, which is I think the one that we're going to use. It's that heart of gold and stardust soul that makes you beautiful. They're really nice things, but I'm feeling this paper hug sentiment. Originally, I was going to go with something snarky, and I pulled out a couple of snarky stamp sets, but then it's just not fitting my mood. So I decided to go with this. That's a little bit more, well, how I'm feeling right now. I've got this beautiful eggplant colored cardstock. Look at how nicely it goes with that. So I think what I'd like to do is heat emboss this with gold to go with our gold foil situation that we have happening here. So I'm going to grab my VersaMark ink and my stamping platform. Got my Misty here, and we're going to use the VersaMark with some gold embossing powder, and we're going to have a really pretty sentiment when we're done. Try to get this up so that you can see it. Okay. In here. I should probably use my anti-static powder tool, but I don't feel like pulling it out, so we're gonna just wing it. And now I'm gonna ink it up with my VersaMark ink, which is sticky, and that will help to have that embossing powder adhere temporarily to the stamped words until we heat set it with the embossing gun, and then it will be permanently bonded to that surface. Well, maybe not permanent. I guess if you tried hard enough you could scratch it all off, but it kind of defeats the purpose, right? Okay, that looks good. You can see that it's a watermark ink, so it darkens your cardstock a shade or two, and then you can leave it like that if you want to. You'd want to heat set it anyway because it will stay sticky, but that is definitely a fun effect that you can do that I haven't done in a long time, just using it as a watermark ink, but it does look good. Okay, I'm getting a little discombobulated here. I have a mess on my desk now. Okay, let's use some gold powder. It's actually called Champagne. It's from Stampendous. I don't think it's available anymore. There are some Stampendous powders, I believe, still available through Spellbinders, but there's a ton of companies out there that have embossing powder, so I'm sure you can find something that works for you if you don't already have it in your stash. Okay, I've got a brush here, just whisking away the excess, and now we're going to dump this back in like so. Okay, and I'm just going to grab my heat tool and we'll heat set that really quickly. Turn it on, you can hear it in the background, and now we will melt the powder. love watching that. I do. I love watching that happen. It's so fun. Okay, so now we're going to just need to trim that down. Okay. Got this cutting tool. This is an old one, but it works really well. It's a rotary cutter because I can't use my guillotine with this because then I'll just chop the whole thing off, and I don't really want to do that. Okay, and now I'm going to bring this over here. A little bit more. So you line up the clear edge here, and that's where it'll cut. Okay. That looks good. I like it. I feel like it needs a little bit more gold though. I'm gonna grab another piece of gold and we'll see what that looks like. So I've got this holographic mirror paper that I think, yeah, I think that that's just what we need, right? Just a little bit more shine. You can still shine even if you're feeling down, right? Okay, so now I have my tonic trimmer, and we can line this up, sort of, maybe. I'm gonna wind up chopping the edges, but maybe if I can get this in there. Hello, struggle bus. Okay. How's that? A little wide, but I want to cut these edges off. It's got an impression here. I don't know if you can see it because I had used a die cut on it on the edge, so I just want to trim that off so that it's not there anymore. I apologize if you hear my dog barking. She's about to go for a walk. That's Dory, not Bartles. Bartles is probably going to be staying home today. I'm going to trim that down a little bit more. It's a little too big. I'm going to eyeball it. I know I'm off camera. I apologize for that. It's a little hard to get it in frame because of the way my camera's set up, but that works. That works for me. Okay. What do we think? You know what I don't like? I don't like the squared off edges. I feel like it's not working. It's too square. It's just not what I want. Okay, so now we have to do something else. I'm going to round the corners with a corner edger. Okay, so I have this ridiculously old corner rounder. Let's see if it does the job that I want it to do. I think that that's better already. Let's see, maybe we'll only do 2. Oh, see, that's not bad. And then I'll do the same for the sentiment strip. I don't hate that. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I think that that's better. I could probably make this mirror gold piece a little bit smaller, but I don't really want to mess with it. I think that if I do, I'm going to wind up cutting it crooked and all of that, and I don't want to do that. So we're going to leave this as is. I'm happy with this. So we're going to grab some glue. And adhere this down. I hope that if you're going through anything difficult right now, and let's face it, who isn't? I hope that you can find a way to get your art or your crafting or whatever you want to call it, your journaling, whatever. I hope that you can find a way to get that to help you. I hope that you can get through whatever it is that you're dealing with and come out the other side. I don't know. I don't even know. I don't want to say better because, you know, I'm not going to be better after this is all over with Bartles. I'm going to be a mess, but let your art help you. I think that's the bottom line. So I have Stormy Sky Distress Oxide because, you know, feeling a little stormy. And I'm just applying this nice and heavily so that it's really solid. Sometimes I like to have the edges sort of wispy and, you know, you can see some of the white through, but I don't really want that today. Need to add a little bit more down here. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. That looks good. I like that. Okay, so now we're going to adhere this. And Bartles has woken up. So if you hear him, that's who's making noise now. The dogs are up. I'm going to try to wrap this card up quickly so that I can go down and hang out with him. Okay. Gonna adhere this. I really like how this panel came out. I think it's pretty. And adhere this. We're not going to add any gemstones or sequins or anything to this. I think that the mirror gold cardstock and the little bits of foil are just enough. All right, friends. That's our card for today. It's a little off-center, but that's all right. I'm a little off-center today, too. Thanks for bearing with me through this. I hope that it helps you. I hope it maybe helps you feel not alone in your struggles. Keep Bartles in your thoughts, guys. Liver cancer isn't fun. But hopefully we can keep him as happy and comfortable as possible for as long as possible. So, okay. Thank you so much for hanging out. I really do appreciate it if you stuck with me to the end. I know that this wasn't the easiest video to watch because of my commentary, but you could always mute me. I'll be back real soon with another video, and I appreciate you. Be well, stay safe. Peace out. Hey guys, it's the next morning, and last night after I finished filming, I was going to take photos of this card, and I decided that this really wasn't working for me. It's pretty and I like it, but it was too much. It was too big, it was too flashy. So I found instead, and I love this mirror cardstock, but again, for what I was trying to do yesterday, it was just a little too shiny. So I have this kind of foiled cardstock. This is from Recollections from Michaels, and I decided to remake the sentiment because, again, I do really like this and I can totally use this on something, but you can see the difference. I made it a lot smaller. The border is significantly smaller and it just doesn't have as much shine, and I wanted it to be a little bit more subdued. So that's how I changed it, and truth be told, I still don't think it's perfect, but I don't expect to get perfection right now. I don't. I'm happy with this. I think it's good enough. I think that when I eventually send it to someone, they will love it. And yeah, I have to just sit with the discomfort and just say, you know what? It's good enough. And I'm happy enough with it. Okay, enough of me rambling. I am going to go hang out with my dog. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you next time.